PepsiCo has put out that their revenue has risen as higher prices have for snacks have been able to overcome when it comes to inflation. Well, what it's showing that consumers are continuing to buy treats like soda and chips at rising prices, even though their pocketbooks get more squeezed by inflation. And we've heard about the crisis of unaffordability for quite some time, as wages are not increasing at the rapid phase that inflation is. And as interest rates increase by the central banks, well, this is something people are worried about when it comes to their future, an economic downturn and a recession around the corner. But PepsiCo is saying that they're not experiencing that. PepsiCo Inc. reported 5.2% increase in revenue in their latest quarter from a year earlier, as prices on average rose 12%, and the company has benefited from strong sales of its snacks and packaged goods. And when it comes to PepsiCo's finance chief, Hugh Johnson, well, he's saying, and here's his statement, he says, unlike things like cars and houses and durable goods like washing machines, we're just sort of an affordable treat even when times are tough. And he continued to say that PepsiCo has used price increasing in the recent months to be able to help offset the rising costs when it comes to trucking, packaging, agriculture commodities. And year over year, prices went up 10%. And in the first quarter of this year, it was 7% in the fourth quarter of last year. And when it comes to the chief executive, Ramon Laguarta, saying that the company and its retail partners are concerned about how inflation affects low-income shoppers. And but we know something when it comes to stats is that when things are really expensive in the grocery stores, when it comes to fresh produce, fruits, vegetables, and other commodities, well, the people with lower income will usually go towards when it comes to prepackaged foods or frozen foods. And perhaps this is something that PepsiCo is looking into. They've said that their sales grew in the latest quarter, even in restaurants and convenience stores, saying that this is not what they expected given inflation and the higher prices and how they've passed on those higher prices to the consumer. That's usually the worry when it comes to any business. If things become expensive, their overhead, when it comes to, in their case, trucking, packaging, agriculture commodities, but in other businesses, when it comes to employees, wages, and other things, well, they'd have to pass that on to the consumers and sometimes worry about how it affects their revenue and their bottom line. But this doesn't seem to be the case for PepsiCo. And even though PepsiCo has acknowledged that a recession is likely to come, as it's been predicted with the fast overnight interest rate increases by whether it's the Federal Reserve in the United States or the central bank here in Canada, or in Europe and other parts of the world, it's likely that there will be a recession, and businesses are trying to make some changes right now to be able to go through what is yet to come. Now, the company is preparing for different scenarios, even though they have said that they've earned more revenue. But with their potential plans, including what they're saying is a reduction in capital spending and an increase in automation and a shift in investments from growth to productivity. Automation has something that people usually fear when it comes to workers and what it means for the bottom line and what it means for jobs. But this is what PepsiCo is talking about. Now, PepsiCo American Snacks Unit, North American Snacks Units, which sells Doritos, Lay's, potato chips, their revenue rose 14% for the quarter ending June 11th of this year, and the unit sales volume fell 2%, largely because of a quality control issue that disrupted the production of one of its facilities. But regardless of that, they're overall put together a 17% increase in revenue and a 2% increase in sales volume. PepsiCo International Snacks brand had a 20% increase in organic revenue, which strips out what you would say is currency swings as well as acquisitions and divestitures, the company said. The company revenue rose $20.2 billion from 19.2 billion. Now, they did talk about when it comes to their second quarter profit of 1.43 billion, or what you would say is at $1.03 a share, compared to the $2.36 billion in the prior year, and saying that on an adjusted basis, excluding certain events like the conflict in Ukraine that's been in place since the end of February, that PepsiCo has performed fairly well, and share earnings are at $1.86.